Billionaire CEO orders steak. Black waitress slips him a note that stops him cold. The fork hovered, the candlelight wobbling on its polished tines. 4 hastily scrawled words on a linen napkin cut through the music and murmurs around him like a blade to the ribs. Today they spit in your food. He didn't swallow. He didn't breathe. He felt the room tilt, not because of the insult, but because of something primal and older, danger, coiled and waiting, wearing a white tablecloth. Before we begin, if this kind of story speaks to your heart, feel free to share where you're watching from. It's always beautiful to see how far stories like this can travel. Enjoy the story. The door with the golden handle Charleston wraps itself in silk. The city's night air comes salted and sweet, and the cradle fits into that picture the way a polished rifle fits on a mantle. The old house that hosts it is all columns and courtesy, a porch wide enough to hold a sermon, a door handle you could almost mistake for an invitation. Inside, the light is low on purpose, so people feel important without having to say it. He's dressed like a man who came to fix the Wi-Fi. Plain navy hoodie, dark jeans, sneakers rubbed thin at the heels. The hostess looks him up and down with that particular brand of softness meant to bruise without leaving a mark. Reservation. She asks, voice as crisp as starched napkin corners. She's young, white, pretty in a way that seems rehearsed, one finger resting against a list that determines who gets to pretend they've always belonged. No, he says, his hands are steady. His eyes steady, the rest of him. A storm he wears with practice. We're fully booked, she says, then adds, we could do something near the kitchen hall if that works. He nods. That works. She leads him through a sea of laughter and low gold lamps, past black suits and pearl strands, past a wall of unlabeled portraits, images of men too proud to be introduced, and a history too guilty to put a name to. He is the only black guest in the room. The staff, a majority black, brown and tired, slides seamlessly through the floor's choreography. The man at the desk with slicked hair and a politician's shoulder squeeze, the manager, Mr. Clay, glances past the hoodie like one glances past a stain. He sits where he's told, a table without a candle by the swinging doors that breathe bleach and steam. No one asks his name. 10 minutes pass without water. 2 servers skip him for tables that sparkle. What they don't know could buy this building twice. Malcolm DeVoe has a face you've seen in magazines next to words like visionary, unicorn, and market whisperer. He hates those words. He hates the way they let people congratulate themselves for only hearing him after he piled his brilliance into numbers. He's not here for celebration. He's here for confirmation. 2 weeks ago, an anonymous letter landed on his desk. The cradle is a nest for something ugly. Come see. He bought a Greyhound ticket. He left all the noise in New York. He packed a hoodie and a burner phone and walked back into the South like a man visiting a house he once escaped. When a server finally appears, her voice isn't the manufactured melody he's been hearing around the room. It's quiet, careful, the kind of careful that grows in places where a misstep can cost you rent. Evening, I'm Naomi. Water, still or sparkling? Tap is fine, he says, looking up. She meets his eyes and holds them, not long, just long enough to see that he is watching the way a person watches when they're measuring something other than the wine list. She's wearing black flats that have seen more miles than Mercy. Her name tag has one corner bent. Her posture says, I will not take up space you didn't give me, but her gaze says, I keep score. What can I get you started with? Naomi asks. He scans the menu like it's a map and taps once. The presidential prime, medium rare. Her pen pauses, not because he can't order it, but because rules here don't always live on paper. Would you like a wine pairing? 2005 Staglin Cabernet, she repeats it. The presidential prime, medium rare, Staglin 05. Somewhere between presidential and Staglin, she feels eyes press against her spine. The manager is watching. Mr. Clay has a talent for hovering even when he's across the room. The cradle likes to pre-authorize expensive meals from people who don't look like they vacation on islands no one can pronounce. Anything else? She asks. Just that, he says. Thank you. At the POS terminal, the rules blink at her in red, card required for premium orders. Mr. Clay is already drifting over like a cloud that knows where to rain. Did he leave a card? He asks, all smile, no warmth. No, sir, Naomi says without turning her head, her fingers moving like his voice is white noise. Then we need a card. She swipes her ID. Override, the machine chirps, approving her nerve. We don't need a card, she says softly. He holds her in a stare that aims for intimate but lands on insulting. If it doesn't clear, it's your check, Naomi. She nods and breathes through her teeth. The machine prints. Her name is on the line for $700 and a bottle of red that costs more than a car note. She walks away before her courage can look down. Roman 2. The girl with the pen. There was a time Naomi Brooks thought the law was a door you could pry open with enough case law and grit. Howard University taught her jargon, debate, and how to hold rage like glass, visible, refracting, unbroken by the heat. Life taught her something sharper. Sometimes the law is a door that swings shut unless someone wedges a foot in the frame and refuses to move. Her mother's diagnosis arrived folded in a pharmacy bag with a bill stapled to it. Naomi left classes mid-semester. She took a job at the Cradle because we value diversity, looked good on a website, and the pay kept the lights on. The restaurant taught her new rules: speak only when spoken to, smile like it pays, bear weight like it doesn't. Mr. Clay's attention is a currency some servers covet because it gets you cushy sections and tables that drop a rent check without blinking. For Naomi, his gaze is a thermostat, turning up and down based on who her guests are and how they look. She's assigned to tables that are convenient to forget. The kitchen is a theatre of heat and knives. The line cooks move like a drill team, the expo bell rings like a gavel, and Chef Rick struts through it like he invented flame. He's a white man who loves to say he worked his way up. He swears a lot, sweats more, and treats the staff like they can't tell the difference between bravado and bullying. He calls Naomi darlin' like it's a weapon. Naomi has a habit in this place of keeping her head down while making mental notes. There's a ledger in her mind with 4 columns: who gets sat where, who gets a credit card request, who gets the warmth that belongs to money, and who gets the crumbs. When the steak drops, 48 ounces of theatre under a bell jar, she's already seen enough nights to know what the kitchen thinks of people like the man in the hoodie. But thinking isn't proof. And proof is what the world asks for when a black woman says the air is poison. She watches from a sliver between stacked plates as Rick leans over the sizzling meat, the rosemary smoke wreathing his face. He moves like he's leaning in to admire his work. Then he spits. It's quick, a cruel flick from a man performing for his audience. The sous chef barks a laugh. The steak flips like nothing happened. Naomi is still. Her first instinct is to disbelieve her own eyes for the safety disbelief can offer, but the laugh is too easy. The motion is too practiced. This isn't the first time. It's just the first time she can't pretend she didn't see it. Her hands find the linen station without asking her permission. She takes a fresh napkin, the cloth cool and clean under her fingers. The pen in her apron skips once before ink flows. Today they spit in your food. This place isn't safe. Ask for the kitchen cameras. She doesn't sign it. She doesn't have to. Women like Naomi learn to write without names because the world punishes you for having one. She tucks the napkin beneath the edge of a plate, beneath her own pulse. Then she lifts the silver dome as if she were presenting the crown of a good country. Enjoy your meal, sir, she says, and as her right hand clears his bread plate, her left hand lets the napkin slide like a secret into place. He sees nothing. That's the trick. The truth is always right there behaving. Roman 3. The man who never blinks first Malcolm's career has a plaque and a penthouse to it, but his calm came from kitchens and bus terminals. He was the boy tying a tie from a YouTube video on a borrowed phone. He was the teenager who watched his mother cry in a parked car because her paycheck did not care that her son grew taller. He was the man who realized early that making people uncomfortable with your intelligence is more dangerous than making them comfortable with your poverty. He didn't come to the Cradle to eat. He came to listen with his eyes. The napkin feels heavy. He reads it twice, first for the words, then for the hand that wrote them. The script is neat and trembling. The words are chosen like someone who knows what a court will respect if this ever becomes a file. He doesn't move. He doesn't wave anyone over. He takes out his old phone and opens an app that doesn't exist in any store. A message goes out to Marcus Shaw, his chief of security, who once built a career in a government building with no sign out front. Pull all kitchen camera backups from tonight. Cross-check staff profiles and prior incident logs. Preserve everything. Quiet, fast, he rises, Mr. Clay notices now. Men like Clay notice when money stands up or walks out. He approaches with a smile you could frame and hang in a realtor's office. Everything all right, sir? I'd like to see you in your office. Of course, Clay chirps, pivoting on a heel towards the hall with the awards that are all fonts and no meaning. Malcolm does not sit. He allows Clay to say all the right words in the wrong order: experience, guess, guest, satisfaction, policy, brand. Malcolm looks at the ceiling vent and counts the seconds until the air carries table talk from the dining room into this box. Then he stops counting. I want to look at your kitchen cameras. Clay laughs the way people laugh when they want to make you feel like a question is beneath them. We don't typically do that for. I own this place, Malcolm says. The words are soft, but they land like a closing door. I'm not here for typical. There's a hush, then a stutter. Mr. DeVoe, he says, I'm the man who signs your checks. To Clay's credit, he recovers fast. He moves to the cabinet, unlocks a drawer like it's a safe, pulls out a hard drive like he knows how to use it. He plugs it into a monitor and clicks through feeds. For a second, the prep station appears, the cutting board, the bell, Naomi's small frame passing like a shadow across the edge. Then a jump, a neat slice out of time. Looks like it looped, Clay offers. Sometimes It didn't loop, Malcolm says. It was cut. I'd need approval to. You had approval when you signed your employment contract. Malcolm steps closer, not loud but impossible to ignore. You had approval when you looked at my face and didn't think you needed to learn it. Clay's eyes flit to the door like someone might rescue him from his own decisions. Somewhere down the hall, a laugh floats in like a reminder that the public performance is still happening. An alarm wails. For a flash, the building breathes in. Clay's relief is visible. He seizes the excuse. Fire drill, he says. These old buildings. Malcolm doesn't blink. His phone buzzes. Marcus, we got it. Cloud backups intact. Time stamped. Multiple incidents. Hate speech audio. Need you to see. Malcolm turns the phone face down and looks at Clay. Go home, he says. Don't touch anything. If you touch anything, the touching becomes a crime. Clay sputters, then falls back on a shape he understands. With respect, sir, we have reservations. You had a restaurant, Malcolm says, and it's the first time his voice is steel. Right now you have a problem. Roman 4, the archive, the hotel is anonymous on purpose. The kind with a lobby that is all planters and no personality. He likes rooms where the wallpaper doesn't brag. He pours water. He sits. He opens the file Marcus sends. The video loads. There's the kitchen. There's Rick. There's the spit. There's the laugh. There's the line you can almost hear even before the bad audio catches it. That's what you get for acting like you belong here. He watches twice. The second time he watches the others, the people who didn't spit but didn't stop it. A sous chef who pretends the grill needs his full attention. A dishwasher whose eyes say everything his mouth won't. A busser who smirks and looks away. Indifference is a team sport. He clicks through dates. Another night. A black couple at table 30. The kitchen calls them the bloggers in a voice that makes the word sound like a disease. A steak hits the floor and is resurrected by flame. Laughter. The tape keeps going because someone forgot to be careful. He thinks of his grandmother's kitchen in Alabama. No stainless steel, no island, no islanders. A stovetop that tilted just enough so that eggs ran towards the edge. He thinks of the rules she kept like commandments: never serve anything you wouldn't serve yourself. Never feed anyone your anger. Never make a person earn your kindness. He clicks save, sends the footage to legal, sends it to PR. Tells one group to prepare questions with teeth and the other to prepare statements with spine. Tells both to keep their tongues until he says otherwise. He sets the glass down and wonders, not for the first time, if owning nice things is simply an elaborate geometry of forgetting. He bought the cradle to diversify hospitality assets. He said the phrase at a board meeting and watched suits nod. He did not step foot in this building until tonight. The napkin is in his pocket. He takes it out. He stares at the words until they blur. He folds it in half and then again and tucks it away. Not evidence. Reminder. The ask Naomi doesn't sleep so much as pace the narrow road between intention and regret. Courage is expensive, so is rent. So is chemo. She imagines the napkin opening at table 14 like a fist unclenching, and she imagines her job evaporating into a pretty sentence about policy. Her phone stays blank all night. No one calls to ask why she did it. No one calls to fire her. Morning slips in through cheap blinds anyway. She steps into the cradle's back hallway and knows before anyone speaks that today is going to split her life into before and after. The hostess, Grace, has mascara thick as accusation and whispers, "Mr. Clay's office." Now. Naomi smooths her apron like it might armor her and walks. She expects the manager. She expects a lecture that ends with the words "company policy." She does not expect the man in the hoodie standing with his hands in his pockets like he's trying to make his calm contagious. "Miss Brooks," he says, "please, sit." She hesitates. I'm sorry if..." "Don't be," he says. He gestures to a chair. She sits like sitting is a bet. He waits until the room settles. "My name is Malcolm DeVoe," he says. "I own this building, I own the brand, your manager works for me, so does the man who spit in my dinner." Naomi's first thought is that the world has a sense of humor that tastes like rust. Her second is that this is not a private conversation. This is the thing that happens in movies right before someone says, "We're done here." "I watched the footage," he says. "I watched footage from this week, last week. I'm very sorry for what you've been working in, that's my failure. I put my name on a door and didn't step through it." She stares at the floor. "I didn't know who else to tell." "You told the right person," he says. "So now I'm going to ask you to do something harder than what you did last night." She looks up. His face is still. His eyes are not. He has the look of someone balancing grief and duty. "You have a choice," he says. "I can close this place today, board up the windows, fire everyone. Reopen under another name with another staff and a policy manual that could double as a brick. I can put your name on a scholarship. I can put you somewhere safe. You never have to walk through this door again." He lets the option sit between them long enough to feel like a kindness. "Or," he says, "you can stay. You can help me rebuild this house from the studs. You can write the rules. You can sit where Mr. Clay sits. You can make this a place you wouldn't be ashamed to bring your mother to. Director of Ethics and Culture, you'll report to me." Silence is a metronome. Naomi listens to it until she can hear her own heartbeat slow down. "You trust me with that?" "I already did," he says. "You just didn't know it yet." "Then I have conditions," she says. The words surprise her as much as him. "Living wage across the board. Tip pooling with safeguards. Real bias training, not a PowerPoint. Cameras mounted where you can't cut them and a third-party hotline for complaints. No buried clauses in the handbooks. No portraits that don't name themselves. Furniture that fits more bodies. Menus that tell the truth about where recipes come from. And Sundays, once a month, we serve the neighborhood for free. Family meal, anyone. First come, first served, no questions." He doesn't smile, but something warms behind his face. "Done," he says. "Add a scholarship fund in your name for hospitality workers who want to finish school. Law school if they like." Naomi swallows. "You don't know what you're saying yes to." "I do," he says. "I grew up in a house where yes meant somebody had to hold something heavy. I came prepared." VI. The reckoning at 12:30 p.m. the next day, when Charleston's best blazers are ready to sip their way through a lunch meeting. A pair of city health inspectors and 2 investigators from the State Attorney General's Civil Rights Unit push open the cradle's front doors. They are in plain clothes. They do not perform for the cameras on the sidewalk because the cameras haven't gathered yet. They go straight for the kitchen. Chef Rick freezes at the sight of a badge and then makes the mistake of looking at the back door. The dishwasher, Andre, sets down his bin and steps out of the way without moving. The sous chef reaches for a towel like it can clean anything. "Richard Phelps?" the investigator asks. Rick clears his throat. He turns his apron into a shield. "Yeah. We're serving you with a warrant for records and footage. There are allegations of adulteration of food and discriminatory conduct. You'll come with us." Rick finds his words. "This is ridiculous. It's a prank. Who, we'll discuss at the station. Mr. Clay is next." He tries to smile at public servants the way he smiles at donors. The smile doesn't work on people whose jobs require them to see through things. They ask for his devices. He offers them his phone like a peace treaty. They ask for the hard drive he hid behind a stack of Best of Charleston plaques. He looks almost relieved to hand it over. People who think they can talk themselves out of trouble prefer formalities. They make it feel like everything is still a conversation. Outside, a small crowd does what crowds do. They record. Malcolm steps onto the front steps with a portable microphone and a piece of paper he doesn't need. The day is bright in a way that makes nothing look soft. Yesterday, I walked into this restaurant as a customer no one thought it was worth impressing, he says. Today I stand here as its owner. What happened in this kitchen didn't happen by accident. It happened because I allowed a culture I didn't inspect to define my name for me. That ends today. He gestures to the doorway. Naomi is there beside him, in a navy blouse and slacks that look like she has a future. She doesn't smile because this isn't a party. Her presence is the announcement. This is Naomi Brooks, he says. She showed more integrity last night than I've seen in boardrooms this year. She's our new director of ethics and culture. If the cradle survives, it will be because she designed a spine for it. A woman in the crowd claps loudly. A man follows reluctantly, and then everyone follows him like they were waiting for permission. Applause is a strange thing. It's honesty when it comes late. We're not cancelling this place, Malcolm says. We're reopening it as something that deserves to exist. The name will change. The walls will change. The rules will change. If you want to eat here when we're done, you'll eat more than food. You'll eat the truth. Romans 7. The work you think rebirth is a montage. Fresh paint, new chairs, a soft landing of lighting fixtures. In truth, it's arguments over the exact height of a bar stool so wheelchairs fit without asking, and whether the font on the menu helps older eyes, and whether family meal is patronizing or faithful. It's meeting after meeting where Naomi repeats a sentence until it becomes muscle memory for the staff. Silence is an answer, and it is the wrong one. The Confederate portraits come down and find a new home in a museum trove of shame. They are replaced by images of Charleston's black bakers, fishermen, girls in Easter dresses, midwives, Navy veterans, the Gullah matriarch whose pound cake recipe sustained 3 generations. Each frame is labelled with a name, a date, a place. No more unlabelled ghosts. Miss Pearl, the oldest prep cook on staff, hands like the pages of a beloved paperback, becomes kitchen counselor and keeper of history. You can't serve carelessly and call it service, she says more than once, and the line cooks learn to nod like students. Menus change. Gone is the low-country elegance for the discerning palate copy that reads like a performance for tourists. In its place are ingredients that don't lie: rice grown an hour up the road, shrimp from a family boat, collards cooked in a pot that once belonged to Miss Pearl's aunt. The steak is still there, but its name is no longer presidential. It's just ribeye bone-in. The price tag is still a mortgage payment, but a fraction of every expensive ticket finances Sunday tables that seat anyone. In a conference room that used to host silent scoldings, Naomi maps a reporting system a whistleblower lawyer would envy. Anonymous hotline with an outside vendor. A simple QR code behind the host stand that says, if we made you feel small, tell us. The only mistake is letting us keep doing it. Pre-shift circles replace pre-shift lectures. People speak, they fumble. They practice. Clay is gone. Rick is indicted. The sous chef takes a deal that sounds like a confession and a curriculum. There's a civil suit. There's a settlement with a confidentiality clause that never feels like victory. There is also pushback. A board member calls Malcolm and says words that feel like they are made out of fear. This is bad for the portfolio. Hospitality is about discretion. We should exit the asset, sell it, stop the bleeding. Malcolm is tired in the way only men who have stayed sane through a storm can be tired. I didn't get rich to buy my way out of accountability, he says. We're keeping it, or you're buying me out. There's a silence, then a different kind of respect. You're serious. I'm done performing for rooms that applaud too early, he says, and hangs up. Roman 8. The note, framed 2 weeks into the rebuild, Naomi's mother comes to see the walls with their clean bones. She walks slowly, the smell of sawdust and new paint ghosting through her scarf. She touches a frame with the picture of the old church fish fry where she met Naomi's father. You did this, she asks, not needing to. Not alone, Naomi says. Never alone. Across the entry, under glass that resists fingerprints, is a linen square. The ink is still imperfect. Today they spit in your food. This place isn't safe. Ask for the kitchen cameras. A small plaque sits beside it. The font is modest. The message is not. When you see something, say it so no one can say they didn't see it with you. Her mother touches her elbow. Law school, she asks. Part-time, Naomi says. I know the dean at night now. He tells better jokes. You always were two things at once, her mother says, which is her way of saying she's proud. Roman 9. The opening the new name isn't a rebuke, it's a promise. They call it the hearth. It suggests a flame you gather around instead of a fire you're kept from. The front door opens with the same golden handle, but the balance has been reset. The air feels less like a test. Guests arrive on a Friday night, some curious, some contrite, some ready to be angry because that's easier than being wrong. They are seated by the front window, by the middle, by the kitchen glass where you can watch Miss Pearl taste sauce with her eyes closed. There is a rule taped in the server alley where only staff can see it. We will not send kindness only to those who pay for it. Naomi walks the floor without a tray for the first time, clipboard under her arm, earpiece in, pocket full of pens. Malcolm stands at the bar in a suit that could be a sermon or a threat depending on who you are. He doesn't make a speech. He asks for water. He adds 2 sugars he won't stir. He rests his hands flat on the wood like the bar is an oath. At 7:30, a couple walks in wearing Sunday best on a Friday. They pause at the door. The woman looks like she knows what old Charleston can do to a person who walks into the wrong room without the right face. The host, new black, unhurried, smiles like an equalizer. Welcome, he says. Table for 2, come see the kitchen, it's our best table now. He's not wrong, the kitchen view is cathedral, the line dances. The grill sings. The pass is a runway for plates that look like something gathered, not stolen. There is a moment when the room quiets to the rhythm of knives. You could swear you heard a reset. At 8, a man insists to the maitre d' that he is a friend of a writer. He says he'll take care of the staff with a tone like the promise is a leash. Naomi steps in, not aggressive, just present. We take care of our staff, she says. The rest is a bonus. For once, a man realizes he is not the main character and sits. At 9, the family meal begins at tables on the patio, school uniforms, scrubs, laughter. People who never thought of eating here before now eat here like it's an ordinary miracle. A little boy asks if he can see the fire table. Miss Pearl waves him in, places a line cook hat on his head, as if knighting him into a kingdom. In the corner, a reporter scribbles unanswered questions into a notebook. She wants a quote that starts a fight. She'll get a paragraph that starts a movement instead. X, the things that don't make headlines. The case against Rick doesn't trend. There are no viral videos of his arraignment. There is, however, a quiet letter he has to write as part of a plea, addressed to the black patrons I disrespected. It is probably the only writing he's done that someone graded. Mr. Clay vanishes into a consultancy with a name that sounds like advice without responsibility. He keeps his suit collection. He loses his access. Sometimes that's a fair swap. Often it isn't. Andre, the dishwasher who made himself small enough to survive, gets promoted to line cook. His hands, always quick, learn a new grammar of heat. He stops smelling like lemon detergent and starts smelling like butter and garlic and pride. He cries once on the back steps and then never again. The hostess, Grace, who used to slide reservations around poor faces like chess pieces, becomes the woman who says right this way and means it. She quits wearing her mascara like armor. She starts wearing sneakers with arch support. It's the little things that keep people standing. Malcolm's board lets the numbers tell the story. Revenue dips, then stabilizes, then climbs. The hearth becomes a place people book not because it's exclusive, but because it's honest. Investors discover you can profit from integrity if you try hard enough. Malcolm takes the Greyhound home one weekend and sits on his grandmother's porch. He tells her what happened without adornment. She listens without interrupting. Did you fix it? She asks. I started, he says. Good, she says. Keep starting. Roman 11. The night the power went out on a Tuesday, just after the 1-month reopening, a storm downs the grid for 3 blocks. The hearth goes dark mid-service. For a second, there's the collective inhale of a machine that forgot it has lungs. Candles appear. Phones glow. The kitchen becomes a cave of careful motions. Naomi raises her voice just enough to carry. We've done harder things in the dark. Miss Pearl laughs. Baby, speak for yourself. The servers move like memory. People stay in their seats. Some offer to help, some do help. The busser, 15, shy, new, holds a flashlight like a trophy over the pass while the chef plates by feel. Family meal, Naomi calls, because that's what this has become. If you're here, you're ours. No one asks for a refund. Someone starts humming. Someone else picks it up. The dining room becomes a chorus. It's not a hymn, you know. It's the sound human beings make when they trust the room not to hurt them. The lights come back slowly, sheepish. The first thing anyone sees is each other. Roman 12. The after the napkin stays under glass, not as a trophy but as a temper. A reminder that somewhere right now there's a different room with a different note waiting to be written by a different Naomi who hasn't learned the particular balance between fear and a steady pen. On an ordinary afternoon, a young man in a postal uniform eats at the bar on his break. He stares at the note like an assignment. He asks Naomi if it's real. She says, real as rain. He tells her he once watched a supervisor put a package in the wrong bin on purpose because of the name on the slip. He didn't say anything. He goes home with a to-go box and a look like he is making room for courage. Sometimes justice knocks, Naomi says to Malcolm one slow Tuesday. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it writes itself. Sometimes it slips under your plate, he says. He has stopped using the back entrance. He comes in the front door now like a guest and a witness. When the hostess says, "Welcome, Mr. DeVoe," he hears what she means, "Welcome back to what you started." They do not always get it right. A server messes up a seating chart and an older couple feels banished to the margins. They apologize. They fix it in the moment, not in a memo. A busser forgets to ask for a pronoun. They add it to the pre-shift. They keep starting. Naomi studies at night in the office that used to be Clay's. The leather chair feels less like a throne, more like a tool. Her textbooks fan out like recipes. "What's the rule?" she asks out loud sometimes, just to hear the answer echo, people before policy. Malcolm visits Howard one autumn and speaks to a room full of students who are sick of panels and advice and the word pipeline. He tells them about the night someone spit where he was supposed to dine. He shows them a photo of a napkin. He asks them one question. What are the places in your life where you walked past a door you should have opened? A kid in the second row, braids, hoodie, backpack full of things that matter, says, "How do you open it if you're scared?" "You open it scared," Malcolm says, Roman 13. "The last bite, try it," Miss Pearl tells Naomi in the kitchen one night, sliding a plate toward her with a fork like a priest offering communion. The steak glistens. The crust is perfect. The rosemary smoke embraces without smothering. Naomi bites. The meat is warm as a memory that decided to be kind. 1,000 things had to go right to arrive at this bite. A hiring decision, a pause, a hand that reached for a napkin, a man who read it, a culture that chose not to pretend. "It's good," she says, and it sounds like a verdict. "It's honest," Miss Pearl corrects. "Good comes and goes, honest sticks." Out front, a man in a pale suit who looks like he used to laugh when he should have listened raises his glass at a portrait of a woman whose name he has finally read. He doesn't know why he's tearing up. He tells himself it's the wine, that's fine. Truth doesn't require a confession every time. Malcolm leans against the bar and watches the door swing on its hinges. People come in, people go out. He thinks of all the doors he's walked through, and all the rooms he's decided to stay in. He thinks of the boy who tied a tie in a mirror with a cracked corner. He thinks of the hand that wrote a note without a name. He pulls out his wallet and slips a folded napkin into the frame around the original, behind the glass where no one can see. It says only this, "Thank you." He doesn't sign it. He doesn't have to. Epilogue: we tell ourselves justice is a gavel and a headline. Sometimes it's a pen and a quiet hand. A restaurant changed because someone in a black uniform decided the truth could fit on a square of linen, and a black man with $1 billion decided his money wouldn't be used to muffle what it said. The hearth's Sunday suppers spill out into the street certain months, the way music spills from a church. The neighborhood learns a new way to answer hunger. A little girl in braids carries 2 cups of lemonade like treasure and tells Naomi she wants to be the boss of feelings when she grows up. "We'll make room for you," Naomi promises. She means it. Later, when the building sleeps, the camera above the pass keeps its quiet vigil. It watches a place that no longer needs to hide from itself. If you've ever wondered how justice really starts, it might be this. Someone risks a paycheck to write a sentence. Someone with power decides to read it all the way to the end, and a room full of strangers learns how to keep starting. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something true, share it with someone who needs a reminder that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers under a plate and waits to be believed.